finding that peace within yourself, that everything has already been like planned and created for you from your soul. And that's my belief system, that when you come into body, that your life is already beautifully divine, how it's supposed to. And for me personally, through the trauma that I've experienced in my life, and years of, you know, trauma, and even during those traumatic times, something innately in me, now knowing my soul, was always telling me that everything was going to be okay. And granted, there's things that happen in life that in those moments you're like, oh my gosh, this is not okay. But looking back and then knowing that all I went through is what brought me right here to this moment, to this part of my life, to this strength that I have, to this, you know, passion for helping others, all of this. Like, I chose to create the path that was, you know, to benefit for my highest good. Not everyone's going to experience that. Some people are going to experience trauma. I have friends that have experienced trauma, and it took them down a different path, not a wrong path, but a different path, right? But I think if we can try to every day know that everything is divine and is exactly how it's supposed to be, like you said, for your soul's evolution and the evolution of yourself and your being in this lifetime, that you can have such peace with that. And I know that it's a cliche that sometimes people, I use being one of them, I used to cringe, like, you know, it's happening for a reason. Like, but it truly is happening exactly as it's supposed to. And yeah, you have some free will to play with and to work with, but knowing, you know, I challenge people watching this right now that have been through struggles in their life. And one of my mottos is struggles produce strength. And if you can look back and look at those struggles and go, wow, I came out of that, right? The struggles that you've already came out of, and then knowing that the struggles you go through in the future, because it's life, that's a common denominator. There's going to be things that are put into your path that might not feel the greatest. Knowing that you've already overcome those things that you've pinpointed, you can overcome those too, and you will, right? And so knowing that everything is so divine and that your path is exactly as it is something that I teach my students and my members all the time. It's really embracing that, yeah, it may not feel good right this second, but what can I learn from it? Because I truly believe that every struggle, there's a teaching there. It's a lesson for you to, like you said, evolve through and to grow through and to learn, and just, you can make that choice, right? Because harboring in the low frequencies of like, oh my gosh, this is so scary, I get it, or this sucks, it sucks, is only going to create more of that, versus shifting that mindset and being grateful for what you're going through, because you know that it can give you strength or perseverance or whatever it is that you need. So that's definitely a huge message that I'm trying to teach right now, is to just really be grateful. And that goes with like the time we're in, like you said, whoever watches this, whenever, March 2020, April 2020, however many months this lasts, what's going on the planet right now is divine. Like, a lot of people are seeing it different ways, and that's for their soul's, you know, purpose to see it whichever way they want. But right now it's divine. It's happening exactly as it's supposed to happen. And really leaning into that versus fighting it will make life so much easier. So that's definitely number one. And then number two is something that I always preach, that love is the only truth. And the sooner that you can see, I'm not talking about the emotion of love, I'm talking about the frequency of love, the highest healing frequency that we have access to, and really seeing everyone and everything through the eyes of love. The people, the murderers, the rapists, the politicians, like whatever you are out there, the situation, like seeing it as that divinity, as divine, and really seeing people through the eyes of love. No matter, you don't have to like everyone, but not having that judgment, not letting the ego get in the way of telling you that they're different, because all that is separation. We're all souls. And I think that if we can connect to that that, then there would be a lot less judgment and ego and all of these things disrupting and causing more of that separation. So focusing on love is the only truth. Love is the only truth. So
that's so awesome, Echo. Like I keep want to call you Summer, which is like
it's okay.
an equally awesome name. So you have like awesome name. I love what you just said so much. And you guys, when this episode comes out, like rewind and listen to Echo's last part again. That was so good. Like so many different, the way that she just shared that, and you inspired me so much in both of those, number one and number two. Just the number one, like really for all of us, like if we can just realize that all of this, trauma that we've experienced, the challenges, like we just wouldn't be the humans that we are today without any of it. I love that. The struggle gives us strength. It's so true. So we could think that we want to like wipe away all of those things, and maybe you would say, I'll wipe those things away. You'd be a different human. Like you wouldn't have those lessons. You wouldn't have that clarity as far as what you like, don't like, want, and don't want. So for you to be on the path that you're on, you wouldn't be, but you need some other challenges, some other struggles in order for you to evolve, differently. So it's perfect for you. It's divine. Like Echo said, I mean, it's just, I'm not saying that it's ever going to be like blissful during the middle of like a trauma. It probably won't be, but we can get to the point where we recognize it as, maybe a blessing in disguise. I think that's an awesome like twist. Like whoever first started saying that, like that they were on the right path, because they are. Just we don't know what the actual specific of the blessing are typically until we move through it, and we can look back and say, oh, because of this happening, now look at all these things that have evolved. And that's what's going to happen right now. It's what's happening right now with our planet. And we don't know what all the things that are going to come out of it. But we will be able to look back and say, wow, this was created because of this, and this was created because of this. And look at how much more, connected we all now realize that we are because of this. So I love that so much. And leading to the second thing that you shared as far as just love being, all there is. I mean, it's just universal truth. And like when we can just know that we're all just different, even though we look at Echo and say, that's Echo. And we look at Noelle and say, that's Noelle. And whoever you are out there, these are just like the physical like expressions of the exact same soul, spirit, non-physical energy that is flowing through who all of us are. And so we're just all just different waves in the same ocean that makes up all that is. So the waves may look different sizes, different shapes, but it's still the same like powerful, energy flowing through them. And that's you all of there out there. So we can, instead of condemning each other, that's condemning someone that may be going through a rough time right now in life. Maybe they're angry about some things, upset about some things, feeling depressed, knowing that since we're human as well, like we have the capability of feeling those same emotions. So instead of judging them and making them wrong for them, we can have compassion, because again, that's just different expression of the same ocean. Like the waves aren't out there jealous of each other because that wave is bigger over in Hawaii than it is in Miami. We don't really have waves here in Miami, but they're not jealous of the Hawaiian waves. Like it's just another wave that makes up all. Yeah. So I just love that so much, because if we can just realize that we are just made up of the same, non-physical stuff, and we're just expressing it differently, we can help each other and root for each other and want to see each other, doing well, because it just adds to the total experience that we all get to have here. And if you want to know, and I love how you clarify, because a lot of times we'll say, I love you and all these things, but we're in those moments, we're more talking about the emotion of love. And if that person took a lie detector test, I'm sure they would pass, saying that they love this person. And at the same time, are we being loved in the moment is a different question, because even though I might pass the lie detector when I say I love this person, if I'm yelling at them or if I'm hitting them or throwing something at them, that's not the frequency of love right now. We're not being loved in that moment. So when we're connected with all that is God, universe, love, source, spirit, whatever you want to call it, infinite intelligence. We can trust the thoughts that we have from that frequency, the words from that frequency. None of us are ever going to say a mean, hateful, jerk word from a loving frequency. So if you are, don't try to think that you're loving that moment. In that moment, you're in the jerk frequency. So It's just good to be aware of, and I'm so happy that you pointed these out.
Yeah, I always say that love is my superpower. And one of the things that I've learned on my journey is, the separation that does come with, I mentioned the murderers and the rapists and the politicians. I don't mean to categorize those together. It's just like, I'm just like stating things that I think people might be triggered by, right? Or like not feel love for. And I think, I always say love is my superpower, because, one of the most powerful things you can do is say that somebody turns around and punches you in the stomach, and you know that you are connected, right? When you can turn around and pray for them and send them a healing and send them love instead of turning around and reacting and lowering yourself to that frequency, right? So like we have an opportunity to really help take the frequency of the planet up by staying in that frequency, staying in that love frequency, you know, and with all that we have going on and going back to the everything's divine, like I always ask my members and my students, like when this is all over, for those watching the 2020 stuff, when this is all over, like when you look back, how do you want to say that you handled yourself during this time? In life in general, really, but like during this national, international crisis, how do you want to look back and say that you handled it? Like, how did you grow through it? If you want to grow, but how did you handle yourself? And a lot of times that makes people go, oh, well, I'm not handling it very great right now, you know? So maybe I should like shift that, you know? So it gets people thinking.
Absolutely. I'm all about the awareness of it. Like I love to know that once we're aware of just really the only thing that any of us can control is like right now, this moment, which is all that exists, like what's my vibe, frequency, energy, mood that I'm bringing here and now. And once that like matters to us, then we can ask questions like, how am I handling this? And not make yourself wrong for it because you just feel worse if you do, but just the awareness that you get really excited about it, because no matter what the answer is, this is where you are. And now the next question can be, where would I like to be? How would I like to handle this? Well, what direction would I like to go? And that's such an empowering question that now all we have to do is just start moving in that direction from where we are with what we have, and you just keep moving in that direction. Like momentum is a beautiful thing, like for all of us. Like energy is never stagnant. I never let people label themselves around me. I'm a happy person, I'm an anxious person, I'm a depressed person. The answer to that is sometimes. Like nobody's ever just one way. You could be depressed like 23 hours out of the day, and that 1 hour that you're watching funny YouTube videos, you're actually not depressed. You're laughing and joking. Your frequency is different. So I love what you're saying. Again, I don't remember why I started saying that. I just like flow that out from inspiration from you.